All right. Officially, good evening and welcome to the Market Watch Group working sessions. So we're reconstructing some things in the way we're going to be doing our Tuesday, Thursday sessions. Amazing. Tracy, haven't been here yet. First time. Welcome. Super glad to have you in the group. I tell everybody, feel free to acclimate and then participate at your leisure. You want to start asking questions right away? You'll find that if I can't answer the question, if it's about Discord, someone in the group will answer. Very welcoming, very friendly group to help out. So, yeah, hope you decide you want to engage, but feel free to spectate. So, yes, we're going to talk about trading plan prioritization, but if this is your first time, working on a trading plan and you're thinking, how am I going to prioritize? I've never worked on it. This is great for you. This is going to inform and help you to understand what you should be doing even on your first pass. What does it look like? How are you defining it? Yeah, that's the objective here. So yes, the topic is trading plan prioritization, but we're certainly going to talk about the foundation itself, which is the trading plan, the sections, and how, in order for us to prioritize, we have to score it. In order to score it, we have to say, hey, what's it supposed to look like? For those who don't know me, Tracy, my name is Scott Beck. I will be your host. Did we lose somebody? It looks like somebody jumped. Sometimes they just are coming out and back in. Hopefully that's the case. I can't even tell who it is sometimes. Okay, quickly, disclaimers. We're not advisors, we're not brokers, we don't give guidance, we don't give recommendations, be careful, yada, yada. The agenda. Okay, here's the agenda. Here is the agenda. These are the 8 components. If you're on your first pass at our version of the trading plan, and if you think you have a better version, please share it with me. And I'm happy to, I just want the best possible trading plan for you. This one is as detailed and in-depth as I have found, that organizes it in a way that makes it feel like a business plan. And that's the point. Remember, as I say, if you treat trading like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. Ask yourself how much money you make playing golf or sewing or, whatever else. We don't. It's a pastime. You lose money. This shouldn't be a hobby. It doesn't have to be 40 hours a week when we say a business, but what we mean is the structure, the organization, the commitment, the discipline, all of the elements. That is what we're working on here. So these are the components. We're going to go in. I'm going to have 2 documents in front of me. One of them is available to you now. The other one I still need to make. I just realized I don't think I've put a link to download this document. I still need to polish it up a little bit. And it's actually funny because you'll see I do need to polish it up a little bit. I'm going to score it. And that will maybe help you see what are we looking for here. So if you have your trading plan, get it out. Those of you who have been around a while, who have a few passes, I'm looking to you to help give us some interaction here. Those of you who are new, be thinking, do I have this information? Will I be able to sit down and start writing this immediately? Am I going to have to think about it? Am I lost here? Right. So these are the 8 components. We're going to pull up the score. And the objective here is what? What I decided was very much, I had this epiphany when we were in a meeting the other day about market posture. We don't score the market as a whole. We break it down into components. Then we put it all together and we say, this is our composite analysis. Now, on this one, I'm going to average it at first, which means I'm going to give each of these a score, add them up, divide it by 8. That's my average. That's my composite. We don't do that with the other score. The other score is weighted because not all components are equal. So far, as I looked at this, I thought to myself, are all of the components of this trading plan equal? Do they all have an equal role? And my initial reaction, I'm open to your thoughts, everybody. My initial reaction was yes. Some people would be like, oh, what do we need personal information for? Oh, Steven says no. Okay. Steven says no. I say yes. And I will have an argument with whoever says no. Some are weighted more than others. I disagree. I disagree because they're all dependents, right? For example, our market posture is not dependent on volume. I can throw volume out. If I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting a good read on volume. Great, get rid of it for a couple weeks. It's not helping, it's not hurting. Get rid of it. Now, Stephen, if you decide you want to weight it, you can create a different way to score yourself. I'm going to work off the assumption every one of these are equally important throughout the trading plan. And if it is different, it's so subtle that I don't believe it's worth it for us to try to change a scoring mechanism. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put each one of these as 1 to 10. Score it from 1 to 10. How strong would you rate your personal info section? How strong are you going to rate your market forecasting section? And I don't think you're probably equipped yet to go ahead and make that decision. No problem, right? That is no problem. Honestly, Sandy said, do I mean how well have we completed it? Yes. That. Rating as to how. 1 is poor, 10 is off the charts, unbelievable. Some would argue 10 is perfect. So, do I have any 10s on my scoring for my own personal plan? Absolutely not. I told you. Drove my kids crazy. Can't get above like a 9.3 unless it's like a miracle. Oh. But guess what? I can't really have a Kaizen mentality if I'm like, yeah, there it is, it's perfect. What do you mean it's perfect? I guarantee you it can get better. So make sure you give it room to get better. So we're going to go through each one of these one at a time. And I'm going to talk about it. So you can see, like, if you have it, you can evaluate yourself. If you don't have it, this is hopefully, like I said, going to give you some guidance on your first pass at your own personal trading plan. What do I need to be thinking about here? What do I mean? I always tell people on your first pass, just write one sentence, if anything else. Because after 2 months of trading and working, you're going to come back and you're going to be like, oh yeah, now I know much better what to put. So that's the second pass. And then after the second pass, you're really starting to refine it. That's the third pass. I'm going to ask this question again on the next slide. But that's my first, this is my first, thought-provoking question for everybody. Should we wait until after the third pass, which if we're working off of work on one section per week, that means every 8 weeks we get one full round of the trading plan. So theoretically, you're talking about 6 months. After 6 months, you will have, first of all, I'll tell you this, you'll have the best trading plan you could have ever imagined you would have. It will be strong. I think at that point, it doesn't make sense to keep going around in another circle and another circle and another circle. I think at that point, rather than going in and trying to get like a 1/10 of a point improvement on some things, you go find your 6 or your 7 and you say, let's get that 6 or a 7 to an 8 or a 9. Because that's where the improvement's going to be. And that's where we are talking about today, prioritization. How do we then start to focus and say, I don't need to keep blindly going through in a complacent fashion my trading plan. I need to now say, hey, my personal info, it's a 9. My market forecasting is an 8.5. My trading systems, 7. Risk management is a 9. My routines is a 9. Record keeping is a 6. Well, if your record keeping is a 6 and you try to then tell me that your analytics is an 8 or a 9, I'm gonna call bullshit. Right? That can't be. The Your analytics score cannot be higher than your record keeping score. If you're a 6 on record keeping, the absolute best you can be with your analytics is a 6. Best. If you are analyzing perfectly, you're a 6. If you analyze somewhat like irregularly, you're a 4, man. Like that just doesn't cut it. We can't make improvements with that type of irregularity in what we're doing. Now, does it have to be like you're spending 18 hours a week? No. No. Just means that every now and again you're just stopping, checking in with your numbers and saying what's right, what's wrong, what can I do to improve it. That's actually, we're about to work on section 8 and then we start over. So, okay, let's go through it, okay? First and foremost, if you haven't yet, make sure you go in. It's in Discord, in the downloads, and you can download a trade. It's the very first one. Go into the downloads and grab yourself a copy of the trading plan outline. Nice. It should look like this: blank, nice and pretty, ready for you to actually nice and ugly. Look, we're not looking for you to write a paper and turn it in to a professor. This is for you. You need to make this make sense to you. This is your representation of who you are as a trader, what you're doing, how you're improving, what you're working on. So important. Now, let's go into it. So this is the blank copy. If you have this, have it handy. I'm going to go into the sample plan. This is one, and again, I like put this together in an afternoon with some old plans of mine and some old work and whatever else. So this right here, well, let's just go through it. Personal info, section 1. Strengths and weaknesses. So I've got 4 strengths, 3 weaknesses. That's pretty good. They're short. They're a little vague. I lose discipline and I don't follow the rules sometimes. Okay, that's not great. No, wait. Sorry, that's a strength. I maintain discipline and follow my rules. That's great. Okay, sorry. I was reading that completely wrong. Have a good idea of what my trading flow looks like. What does that mean? It means I know what it feels like when I'm trading my best. I know how to get myself into that flow. That's great. I don't panic easily, even if I have a string of losers. Those are phenomenal strengths. I feel good about that. Weaknesses. I tend to be influenced by preferential bias. What does that mean? It means that when I get a notion in my head, I have a tendency to ignore information contrary to that, so find information that supports that. It makes me a little blind to things sometimes. Number 2, I rush to judgment sometimes. I'm true. True. I will fire things off, and then I'm like, oh, that was too fast. You should have waited. I'm going to say number 3, I don't do that. I have done that. This is an old list probably of mine. Suffer from outcome bias, where I allow my thoughts to be like, oh, if this trade hits my target, I'm going to make a lot of money. And then you're not really focusing on what it's actually doing. That's a pretty honest self-assessment right there. I'm going to say that's pretty strong. I'm feeling like that's around a 9 for strengths and weaknesses. I could work on those 3 with setting some goals. Commitment. I have a statement for my commitment. What am I going to do here? I'm dedicated to the process. I will put the time and effort. Blah blah blah. I mean, it's only a few sentences, but like I said, you're not writing a paper. That's fine. Put it down. Hold yourself to it. Establish maybe you want to put a number on it. An hour a day, 2 per day on the weekend. That's 10 hours. No, that's 9 hours. Right? That's 9 hours. So these are the things that can help you to mark and track and set accountability for yourself. Commitment and discipline. Mission statement. I remember I told you to Google it. That doesn't have to be long, but it's very important. Will this example be available? We asked yes. As I said, there's a couple of things I want to clean up on it. And then I will upload this sample into the download so that you can download it and use it as a guide to kind of say, hey, I'd rather start with what someone did and just change the wording to be representative of myself. Yeah, right? Hell yes. No reason to reinvent having to start from scratch. That's why we have a group. Absolutely. Okay, so your mission statement, that's how you make it feel like a business. What are your beliefs? What are your core values? I have a strong one, I believe. My mission is to become consistent, disciplined, well-organized trader. Those are my values. Who generates yearly profits using diverse trading strategies. Those are some of my objectives and targets. I will be adaptable. I will rely on strict risk money management techniques. I want to be flexible in my approach to the market. Damn, this is good. I was a younger, smarter man when I wrote this. I will be vigilant in using well thought out and defined rule-based systems at all times in order to eliminate emotions from my trading decisions. I want this guy to be my coach. No, I'm just kidding. I probably wrote this 15 years ago, but it's and I haven't changed it much because I put a lot of time into it initially, and it's been pretty stable since then. So I am sharing. This is a generic plan, but I'm definitely sharing some key insights to myself as a trader. Okay, vision. This one is not very good, actually. I'm going to give everything a 9 until here. This vision statement's a little weak. The vision statement should be colorful and it's motivational. This is the like, hey, if you're doing this right, your life should be different 5 years from now. How? What does that look like? What are you doing in 5 years if you've achieved the success that you're trying to succeed or trying to achieve in trading? Make it colorful because, unfortunately, there's a chance, a good one, trading will take you into a place where you're like, oh, why am I doing this? Right? Why am I doing? Here's why. You need that vision statement to like, ta-da, like come out and be like, this is why. Because I'm going to help my grandkids go to college. I'm going to donate money on a monthly basis to my church. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to buy a cabin in the woods and live by myself and let nobody bother me, whatever it is. Something that is the end, the making, being profitable, that's the means. We need something strong. Okay, now score yourself. How well do you score yourself? Because of that weak vision statement, I'm going to give this a, hold on, let me exit out of this. I'm going to have to speed up a little bit, I'm realizing. I'm going to give this a 8.2. I'm going to give that an 8.2. Pretty strong to begin with. Nope, that's not where I wanted that. Sorry. Pretty strong in the beginning. Got a little weak. 8.2. 8.2. All right. So those of you who are new, right? What are we doing? Strengths and weaknesses, you can just list them out. Try to be specific. Try to be honest. The rest of these are really starting to create ways to hold yourself accountable, to provide support, to create an environment where you're giving yourself the ability to learn, right? Market forecasting, section 2. Look, if you don't have a strong one of these yet, you should be there within 4 or 5 weeks of just coming every Sunday. We go through this exact thing. What are the routines? We analyze these 6 components. That gives us a market posture. That market posture holds throughout the week. Then we give ourselves a trading posture. The trading posture, remember, market posture is overall. How do I see the market overall? Trading posture is now what? That's why we meet Monday mornings and we say, now what? What are we thinking about? What are we going to do today? Yes, we said we're a little more bullish, but are we trading today? Or are we still waiting for a signal? So there's a distinction between those two. When we're done, we should have implications. Now, quite honestly, this plan is pretty weak. That's pretty weak. There's nothing here. Yes, okay, great. You're going to look at the long-term trend. How? What are you going to look at? How are you going to look at it? How are you going to score it? Ambiguity is the enemy of repeatability. So if you have like I'm going to sort of do this, you're going to do it different every time. We need to be very specific here. So I'm going to score these sections like a 2. It's listed, but nothing more. Actually, I don't have anything. My implications look pretty good. What types of trades will I take? Now, these are specific to market conditions. This is a market that was a little more neutral. So this is a little behind. Delta neutral. How long will my trades last? Where will I put my stops? How am I going to exit? So that's pretty good. That's an 8 or a 9. Overall, this section's really, that's poor. That is poor. I don't know what you guys would say. I'm going to give it a 3.5. A lot of work to be done. That's the work I'm going to put on that real quickly before I end up posting this one. So, in fact, you know what I might do? Maybe I'll just post it as is, and I'll post it with its score. So you can kind of be like, all right, and then I'll post it again when the score has improved. So you can see the evolution of the plan, even as I just build a better sample. Yeah? Let me know if you think that would make sense or be helpful. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully you don't. Now, here's the thing about this. Don't think about it as complex. Think about it as a roadmap. Right? If I think about a journey where I'm going to go, for 8 days, and I think about every single day, it's going to be overwhelming. So I want to sit down and I want to look at all of it. And then I'm going to focus on each day. On Monday, I'm focusing on Monday. I'm not thinking about day 10. I'm thinking about but I had to start with a plan for that. If all I did was 1 day at a time, I'm going to be lost in the wilderness, right? So I need to, before I go on that trip, I need to plan all 10 days so that I can then focus on each day one at a time. That's what we're trying to do with this. Rules. Trading rules. Okay. Let's get to the rules. Now, we have trading systems, and the rules dictate that you need a full set of rules for each system you trade. Now, what makes a system? Let me get so we can see this whole thing if I can. I think I'm close. All right, I think that's it. Yeah, I got it. Okay. If you subscribe to a service that gives you trades, that's a system. So you would need to take that service and all the information they give you, and you would need to put it in here. And what you're going to do is you're going to find out, where are the deficiencies? You're going to be like, oh, they don't really give me trade management or tactics or exits. I'm on my own. So that you might realize that they're giving you what markets to trade. They give you the stock. They give you the time frame and the type of chart. They probably don't give you position sizing, because how could they? If they did, I would be suspect. Position sizing is very personal. Position sizing is based on your plan. So you need to come up with that aspect. Stops, I would hope that they're giving you stops and exits. Absolutely. Trade management, I would say you're probably not going to get that. That's going to be on you. Tactics is going to be on you, meaning do you sell a half, a third? Do you hold some? But every trade you make needs to be made within the context of a complete system that has all the rules. So if you're trading a system and they don't give it to you, you just have to recognize, all right, this is on me. And now you have to go in and fill in the blanks. If you're trading your own systems, great. What do we need to know? What market? I'm going to trade in the US market. I'm going to focus on index and sector ETFs with high liquidity in order to trade options. Well, that's pretty specific. Okay. To identify the stocks I'm going to trade, I'm going to rely heavily on market forecast and sector rotation. Well, that sounds a lot like what we do. I will look to capitalize on high implied volatility by using selling strategies. So this is now options oriented. If you're stock oriented, it doesn't matter to you. You're going to make sure you always have the right reward to risk ratio. If you're trading options, you have to worry. If options are expensive, you got to sell them. If the options are cheap, you got to buy them. Okay, pretty good. What time frames? Daily charts with hourly and 2 hours. Okay. Position sizing 1 to 2% per trade. What else do we have? Entries. Looking for bounce trade signals. So this is pretty vague. Like I get that it's like, oh, I'm looking for a bounce. Well, let's get some scenarios in there. Describe it. So good start. Starting to get a little vague, right? We want to be specific with this. Stops initially looking at 0.5% below the lowest point of recent support. That's pretty specific. If it's a momentum entry, I'm going to use the low of the previous Heikin-Ashi. That's great. Oh, that's a real strong score. Exits. I'm gonna exit an easier to reach target. That's pretty vague. That could do better. We need a little more detail there. That's like, oh, that's sounds kind of nice, but how? How are you doing that? What exactly are you looking at to help inform that decision? Trade management, that looks pretty good. Tighten stop to break even as approaching the initial target, then move to a trail stop as the target. Stock moves to the primary. Will tighten even more as I get to my target. Yeah, great. Very strong. I like that a lot. In bull markets, only selling 1/4 to 1/3, holding the rest. In a neutral market, selling half. I mean, these are pretty good rules. These are pretty good. I'm going to give these the same thing. There's some, they could use a little work. I'm going to give this an 8.4. What do you guys think? 8.4? Now, how are you guys scoring yourselves? First question, and even if you're new, I'd love to hear from you. First question, do you have a trading plan? Do you have a trading plan? Second question, do you feel like you have what you need to score this? Now, here's the deal. This is going to be recorded. So you might come back to this. But we want to be honest. You can see this is I would highlight this and say, not good. Working on one, Lee says. Love it. Love it. Here's the thing. Just by scoring the plan one component at a time, what's happening here? It's prioritizing itself. Could personal info get better? Sure. Could trading systems get better? Sure. I could get those from an 8.4 to an 8.5 or an 8.6. Right? 8.5, 8.6. It's going to take a lot of work to get 1/10 of a point. I should be able to get that 3.5 to a 7.5 real quickly. So that's the priority. Reward to risk. I put a little bit of time into market forecasting to get a real big jump in my gain, and that's going to give me a huge bump in my score, because as of right now, that's going to bring it down quite a bit, right? Okay, next section, risk management. Okay, so risk management, portfolio heat, maximum heat at any time is 12%. Conditions are hard to read, or market has high volatility, I'm going to drop that to 4 to 5. If volatility has settled and trends start to redeveloping, back to 7 or 8. Heat will be evaluated every 100 trades according to Kelly criteria. Oh, it's not super verbose, but that is strong right there. That's like clear. I know what my risk is going to be. I know how I'm going to raise it in good markets. I'm going to shrink it in bad markets. I'm going to reevaluate it at a very regular cadence. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Trade risk. 1 to 2% for directional trades, 2-3% for delta neutral. I mean, I'd like a little more detail there. That's a little vague, I'd say, right? That could be a wide range. So what makes 1 or 2 versus 2 or 3? It's probably going to correlate to the number of trades, right? But we would want to put some detail in the plan about that, I would say. It's okay, though. Number of trades, maximum number of trades. will be determined by market forecast, portfolio heat, types of trades. The number of trades must be reconciled. Don't go down here. Come over here. Reconciled with the maximum portfolio heat. Amount of trade risk so that heat is not exceeded. Beautiful. Risk adjustments will be made as portfolio heat expands or contracts according to parameters. I'd like a little more detail in here. Yeah, I'd like a little more detail there. I'd like some detail about how I want to correlate things to posture. Tsunami indicators, that looks pretty good. I'd like to have a detail about what I would do, when to take a break. I should have a little bit of detail about which one of those I think is most likely to hit and what I'm going to do when it happens. Overall, again, I would give this a good score. Plenty of room for improvement, though. I'm going to throw it right in the middle of what we have so far. I'm going to give that an 8.3. Let me know if you think I'm scoring it too high, too low. Do you disagree? Do you agree? Is this helpful? Is it helpful to see my plan? Previous pieces and versioning of my trading plans of years past. It's good stuff. Like I really feel like some of this I should reintegrate. Like, oh yeah, what I have now. Again, what did I tell you? We're prone to complacency. This is to me is evidence where I'm like, when I sat and focused, I wrote this, and this is like, yeah, that's good. And then I look at like right now, I'm like, I'm freehanding it. It's real loosey goosey. Like, do this when this happens, and then I go back and I'm like, wait, what did I say? What did I mean there? Yeah, I'm realizing I should go back and really put a little bit more into that. Absolutely. Routines. Okay. Remember, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is a habit. What are your habits? Daily, before market open, I check the futures. Oh, yeah, you check the futures? Do you, buddy? Well done. That's it? Do you check the news? Do you check your positions? Do you look at any charts? Anything from Europe? Any commodities? That's not great right there. Like, you have a before market routine. This is good. When? For how long? That's good. But this is weak. During market is weak. They have when and how long, but clearly this part, and I just messed it up, what little it had, this part is really, really quite poor. After market close, this is a little better. I've got some info in there. 5, 6. Okay, so that's much stronger. Much stronger. The first two are weak. The third one, good. 7 routines. Everything's in place there. Weekly, I don't have when. I don't have how long. Weekly is going to be Sundays. Usually it's going to be wrapped around when we do our meetings, because a lot of our weekly routines I conduct in our weekly meetings. But the information here is good. This is pretty strong stuff. Okay. Overall, what would I say? This is in the 7s for me, and I'm not even going to say mid. I'm going to give it like a 7.4. A lot of room for that to get better right there. A lot of room for improvement. Record keeping. Now, when I go to record keeping here, you're going to be like, oh yeah, Scott, that's a terrible. Remember that this is not where we score it. This is just saying what we have. For record keeping, I'm going to need to come in here. And if I come in here and my log looks like this, remember this log is downloadable at the, or is available to you in the downloads as well. You can download this. If it looks like this, meaning blank, that's a 0. You have no record keeping. Give yourself a 1 because you have a spreadsheet. You're just not using it, right? And if I give myself a 1, what's the most that my analytics can be? 1, but probably 0. This is a big one, but if my record keeping looks like this, zoom, where it's all filled in and I've got all these dates and datas and times, then I have this dashboard. And then this spreadsheet, when it does its job for you, it tells a story, a very powerful story. It tells you what needs to get better. It tells you what can stand to get better. So based on this right here, this is strong. I'm going to give myself a 9.1. And you might be thinking, Scott, look, it could be color coded, right? I could color code this thing. I don't have any colors in here. Oh, I do have some colors. I have some colors, but only 1/4 worth. I could have 3 more quarters worth of colors. There's other things I could have in here. So I'm going to give it a, like I said, 7 point. No, that was good. What did I say I was going to give it? Record keeping was good. I'm going to give that an 8.8. I could color code it a little better. Steven said he scored his as a 9.5, the best of all his scores. Mine as well. And Steven, I will validate your score knowing your record keeping. I might even give you liberty to take it to a 9.6. Nope, 9.55. 9.55, but no higher, sir. Okay, where are we at? Record keeping. That's good record keeping. So does that mean that my analytics are all automatically good? Absolutely not. Just because I have these analytics doesn't mean I get a good score. I should be coming in weekly, monitoring. Do I see that I'm on pace? Do I see that I'm off pace and I need to make a change? I don't want to wait till the end and be like, oh, what just happened? I don't understand. This is real time feedback. You put a trade in, it spits out more like different numbers. So we can say, am I in what I would consider successful normal, where I'm just going to be doing my thing, making my money, making some subtle adjustments. That's what we're looking for. Okay, fine, 9.56. You twisted my arm. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to score myself based on this. I have everything I need here. But if I'm not coming in, this is where you have to really kind of say to yourself, hey, are you doing this at least every single week, once a week? If I'm doing it once a week, then yeah, I'm going to give myself a pretty high score. Remember, it can't be higher than my actual record keeping score. So it's no longer on a 1 to 10 basis. It's on a 1 to 8.8 basis. So if I'm doing this every week, I don't miss, but I don't have a real strong long term, I'm going to say maybe like an 8.6. 8.6. Okay, last thing. Okay, now improvement strategies. Setting goals. Do you have trading goals? If you have 0 goals, you have a 0 score. If you have 1 goal and it's an outcome goal, you can have a 1 or a 2, maybe. 1 or a 2. If you're like, my goal is to make 40% a year. That's your only goal? Yeah, give yourself a 1. A lot of work to be done there. If you have 1 goal and it's a process goal, okay. Process goal, Scott, what do you mean? I mean, your goal is to lose less money when you're wrong. That's part of the process. That's focusing on cutting losses short. That's a process goal. Do you have a goal about improving your routines? A goal about improving your trading plan? A goal about your trade management strategies, i.e. letting winners run? These are all goals that make your trading plan better. They make you a better trader. They focus on the process so that you have bigger winners and smaller losses. If you have 3 of those goals, yeah, now you're up in the 8s. Okay? 1 goal, 5 or a 6. 2 goals, 6 or a 7. 3 goals, 8. But it gets harder from there. I don't have anything written here, but I'm going to give myself credit for 2 goals. 2 goals. And they're good goals. Real process-oriented goals. I'm going to give myself a 7.5. Okay, and there it is. And you can see, right? Like, here's the thing. These are really, really easy prioritization. I don't have to like have a conference now and sit down with a pros and cons list. What are the pros of improving? This is easy. Everything else is in the eights. This market forecasting is a disaster. That's the focus. I could do nothing else until I get that up to like an 8. And that would be worth it for me to spend my time that way. Routines and improvement strategies are too easy. What do I need? I need another goal. Set a goal, write it down, mark it, put it in the thing. Bam, you're at an 8.5. Easy, and now you have another mechanism geared towards improving something about your trading. Awesome. That sounds like a good idea. Routines. It's a little weak from my morning routine and my during market routine. That's a day. I could spend a day, 1 week, just right now recognizing that. So let's score this thing right now, okay? And I'm going to be curious to see anyone else who has scored theirs. 8.2 plus 3.5 plus 8.4 plus 8.3 plus 7.4 plus 8.8 plus 8.6 plus 7.5 equals 60.7. Now, am I thinking, hey, we need a spreadsheet like this that we can mark every time we put a date, and analyze our plan, we mark our scores so that we can have watermarks of improvement. If you're thinking that, I'm also thinking that. Sandy's thinking that. She's like, yeah, that sounds like an amazing idea. If there's one thing I need more in my life, it's spreadsheets. Agreed, Sandy. You and I are on the same page. We usually are, though, right? Okay. Next slide. Let's score it. Take your total score. My total score is a 60.7. Okay? And then I'm going to divide it by 8. 60.7 divided by 8 equals, whoop, I did it twice. Let me go back. Oh, that really killed my unveil. My calculator ruined my big moment there. Doesn't make me super happy. Divided by 8 equals, okay, let's round it to 1 decimal. I'm going to give myself a 7.6. I got to tell you guys, that's a little disappointing. Steven's like, that's pretty good. It's not. It's not. It should be better, right? It should be better. That's 7.6. Now, what if we take that 60.7 and now oh, that's not what I wanted. What did I want? Let me get you back here. Go back here. Now what? Market forecasting. I could have that to an 8 in a week. That's an added 4.5. Bam. I could get an extra point on routines in no time and an extra point in improvement strategies in no time. In that order. That's my prioritization. I've now established the next, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks of what I want to focus on in my trading plan. And if I can achieve those things, now when I divide this by 8, woo, 8.4. Now you're talking, right? Now you're talking. Because we can get it to the mid-8s. We can get it to the mid-8s, no problem. Right? Getting it from a 6 to an 8.5, I can help you do that in weeks. Getting it from an 8.5 to an 8.8, that's going to take months. Right? It's like, I'm a poker fan. They say about Texas Hold'em, the Cadillac of poker. If you play the game, you have just raised yourself 3 notches in my esteem. They say it takes a day to learn and a lifetime to master. So trading's a little harder. It takes a little longer than a day to learn. But what I wanted to emphasize here, hopefully we did 2 things today. Number 1, demonstrated what you're working on with your trading plan. I hope we were able to go through each section, give you just a glimpse of, hey, this is what it should look like. Is it going to be robust? Yes. Is it going to be like a 40-page dissertation? No. Doesn't need to be. It needs to be as strong as it needs to be to define you, to give you the ability to demonstrate improvement. Okay. But what I want you to notice is, just love it, Sandy's right, just make a start. How do you eat an elephant? Take a bite, 1 bite. Worry about the second bite after you finish the first bite, 1 at a time. And that's why most people don't have trading plans. It's overwhelming. So hopefully we've whelmed it up real good. It's nice and whelmed right away for you. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns. Number 1, I want this to feel like this is a manageable pursuit, a manageable endeavor, this trading plan of yours. If you're brand new, Lee, Tracy, possibly Leland, 8 weeks, in 8 weeks with 1 week per section, with 1 hour per section, you will be like, wow, I see it now. That's going to give you the box. That's going to help you see, like, okay, I see what I'm trying to do here. Then you give it a second pass, 8 more weeks, one section per week, 1 hour per week, working on the trading plan in a dedicated fashion, and that will help you to refine it. So the first step, you're defining your trading plan, even if it's just a sentence or 2. Second pass, you're refining it. The third pass, and if you notice here, what I said was, do we need 2 passes or 3? I think 3, but if you're getting antsy and you think you can make some improvements, I get it, right? What is that? What do I mean by that? I mean, like, if after 2 passes it looks like this, you might say to yourself, when I get to record keeping and analytics, I'm not going to spend 2 weeks focusing on that. I'm just going to conduct my normal routine, and I'm going to dedicate that time first to the market forecasting. I hate that it's doing that here. First to market forecasting, and then when I get that up to an 8, then I'm right. And so you have the ability to kind of pick and choose. That's what I mean when I say prioritization. I realized that I was to some extent contributing to the problem of the stagnation with the trading plan. Now we're working on 1. Now we're 2. Now we're 3. Now we repeat. Now the first 2 passes and 3 passes, you will see so much improvement, just exponential improvement. But after the 3rd pass, it's like, oh, you're not seeing the improvement. You're not as excited. And then you fall off. This is how we're going to prevent that, right? This is how we're going to prevent you from falling off and losing momentum in building the absolute most amazing trading plans you ever thought possible. So what do? We start to then gerrymander our resources, right? And we say, hey, I don't need it over here. I'm going to put it over here. That's the process that we're looking for. Now, we have a composite average score. I have a 7.6. What's the objective? North of 9. That's our objective. North of 9. Yeah? It's catchy, right? North of 9. I just made that up. I felt inspired, and that's what it is. From this time going forward, it has been said, let it be written, let it be known. North of 9 is where we're looking to get. If you're like, oh, I'm at a 6, I can get you to the 8.5s in under 6 months. I will get you to the 8.5s in 4 months. Anything. You can go from a 3. You can go from a 0 to 8.5 in under 4 months. You can go from a 3 to an 8.5. You can go from an 8.5 to a 9 in 2 more months. I think we can get you there. If not, then pretty close after. And then it's just this constant pursuit of what can I do to get a little better? It's harder because then you're like, hey, wait a second. What I used to do worked, but the market's changed. So the market's forcing me to adapt. Okay, we have a mechanism where we should see that very quickly. Our numbers will be like, whoa, something's happening. And you're like, whoa, let's go take a look and find out what. We know exactly where to look. Our record keeping tells us exactly where to go. And then we can dissect it and say, okay, this is what I need to do now. So when we say be water, my friends, this is what we mean. All right. I left 4 minutes. I know I usually just kind of let you throw questions at me as we go. New people, how did this feel? Too much? Just enough? Is it good to see it, even if it's maybe a little bit over your heads? Because you're like, you know what? I feel like it may be over my head now, but I could reach back and grab it here in another week or two. Let me know. Feedback will be amazing. Something to keep an eye out for. We are adding a couple of new channels that will go under the text channels. There will be the suggestion box. So you can say, hey, this is what would be helpful. We want to hear from you. We want you to help shape what this group and this community becomes. That's the first thing. Number 2, we're going to have an ask a question channel, and that's actually going to turn into a forum. So there'll be archives of the discussions where it's like, hey, if there's a great chat thread, people want to just go find it and learn from that. We want that to be available. So that's going to be an organically community grown resource. We're going to see increased exposure from Glenn and myself in Discord and in chatting and interacting in the meetups. So all of that is coming. Tracy says, definitely over my head, but I'm here now, so maybe that'll help. Tracy, here's what I'm going to say. I'm glad you are willing to just say that, because when you say that, just like what I said, Sandy immediately popped in and said, oh, here's what you can do. And if someone says, hey, how do I learn something like this? What are ways to get market forecast? So for example, for market forecast, I'm going to come in here to the downloads. And I'm going to come and I'm going to download a market posture log. This is a blank one. And then I'm going to go into the resources. And I'm going to use all of these resources. This is major market analysis. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to save it to my favorites. I'm going to use that on Sunday when I conduct major market. I'm going to go to the sector rotation. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to save it to favorites. I'm going to use that. There are actually videos in the content library. So if you go to the content library, I clicked on that link. It takes me into the content library. It's under construction. Check back soon. But if you scroll down, market posture videos, there's a 15 to 20 minute video on each of the subcomponents so that you can get a little bit more comfortable. And there's a video here on the main process. And if you scroll down into the trading foundations, you'll find there's a market posture and a trading posture video. So once you start diving into rabbit holes, I mean, honestly, you could get yourself lost in there, but you get to go at your own pace. It's there for you. You want to dive in, right? And so that's the big thing. So this is where we'll have discussions. This is where, you'll be able to interact with other people, download the things you need to download. what I would say, Leland, Lee, Tracy, just start coming. Come watch. Now, here's what I'll tell you. There's a couple of new video series coming, and starting, I believe, well, even either next week or the week after, we're going to start increasing the length of these Tuesday, Thursday class and breaking them into a beginner slash intermediate advanced. So the first 45 minutes will be like evergreen. It's the basics all the time. Hey, how do I like right? All we're not even. There's not even going to be a real agenda. There's just going to be how would I do things as somebody who's just getting started. We'll constantly be pointing you to the resources you need, and I think it's going to be a better way to onboard people. Yes, Tracy, a ton of offline resources. And there will be a newbie channel that has pathways with that are curated with videos that'll help you to kind of be like, if I want to X, Y, Z. This thing is a living, breathing animal, and we're all contributing to raising it and training it the way that we want it. So you be a participant. Go into the new channel and tell us what you need when we go in and do the suggestion box. Anyways, yeah, it's an amazing group, and I think we're going to continue adding, the right people. So, all right, what's left this week? Tomorrow, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, market close. It's been a strong week, good week. We're bullish. We've been bullish. I would expect you've made some money on some bullish trades. All right, let's look for more of the same. I would expect my posture to increase more. We had a higher high. That's not going to score, but the volume probably is. We'll see about the VIX. Anyways. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your night. As always, happy trading.